One more really quick thing about Dynamesh I want to bring up is the fact that resolution plays a role along with scale of your subtool here. So I'm going to make this a Polymesh 3D, and I'm going to go out of perspective mode. So I have a cube here, and if I go down to my subtool or my geometry, Dynamesh, resolution, and I just do a Dynamesh, you're going to see I have a Dynamesh cube. Another thing about Dynamesh that you may not know, if I go in here with my move brush and I just move this out, I'll move this forward, kind of a diagonal, and I use my inflate brush, inflate this up here, and then I control drag to re-Dynamesh. If you look at where this geometry is coming, it's basically doing, and anybody who's familiar with Shadowbox and Big Brother ZBrush, you'll recognize the fact that it's really just projecting topology from 6 different sides here, just like it's taking a giant cube at a certain a giant invisible cube at a certain resolution, dependent on this resolution slider right here, and it's just projecting that geometry onto your new shape here. So you're going to see from this side I got nice triangle, or I got nice squares here. From this side I got nice squares here. From this side I got nice squares here. But as soon as you go from a diagonal, that's where those nice squares start getting triangles and stuff. Just because it's projecting from one side, so you're going to have to resolve that in some way, and that's how you resolve those different areas. So there's that, and there's also the resolution that plays a role along with scale. So I'm going to change my resolution, my Dynamesh, to 64. And if you ever drag and it's not updating, just like shift or just tap your object to kind of say, hey, I'm trying to do something here. Control drag, and it should update. Let's go down to like 32. There we go. Go back up to 64. 128. 64. Interesting. So I guess smoothing doesn't really work that well. Anyway, we have a cube at a resolution of 64. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this off, and I'm going to move it over to the side here, and I'm going to uniformly scale this down. And then I'm going to merge these things together. So I'm going to go over here to merge. We're going to go merge down. And now, before I Dynamesh this, you're going to see this one appears to have more resolution because the triangle, or the faces are smaller and the faces are larger on this one. So if I do a sculpted face on this one, it looks pretty sharp. And if I do a sculpted face on this big one, it's going to look about as sharp. But if I do a small sculpted face, the size of this one here, you're going to see this one's really chunky and this one's really smooth. But you saw I took it from the same object. So it appears to have, forward one, there we go. It appears to have more resolution because we scaled those down and the squares are smaller, so it's more packed in there with more resolution. If I control drag, and I'm going to Dynamesh these at the same resolution, so they're both a resolution of 64 because they're part of the same subtool now, and you look at these right next to each other. Let's go ahead and mask this, invert that, and we'll just move this on over. You're going to see these are the exact same resolution. Squares are being projected from the same resolution box between these two. But because this object is smaller, if I sculpt a face on this one, it looks pretty chunky. But if I sculpt a face on this one, I get a little bit more resolution. I can actually go in here and start, adding cheeks and stuff and noses. However, on this one over here, I start adding a nose and cheeks. It's like, there's not enough resolution. It's because it's the same resolution. This one's just smaller, so it has fewer faces. So just keep in mind that if you're going to be sculpting on something this small, and you are going to be sculpting on something this big, if you want to give them equivalent resolution, and I should have gone to deformation here and done a size of like -100 so I could keep track of the scale I'm working at. But just generally speaking, if I go here to split, and there's not a group split in here, so I'm going to go ahead and hold down Control Shift, isolate this one, do split hidden. And now if I Dynamesh this one, so 164, we'll do 128, Control drag, and now I can start sculpting this face, and I've got enough resolution on here to go ahead and start adding, cheeks and a nose and stuff, and have it, similar. This one is lower resolution, but it's larger, so there's more polygons on here to sculpt on, so it appears higher resolution just based on its size. This one over here is a higher Dynamesh resolution, but it's a kind of equivalent because it's a smaller object with more resolution technically. So again, if we merge these down now, let's go ahead and do another merge down here, and I move these next to each other here. You're going to see I can sculpt on them and get the same features, but this one has, for every one face here, you're going to have almost double the resolution for this one. So just something to keep in mind.